And as we say, we record these meetings for the strict benefit of our members to see how they did, to see how the club's doing, and to serve as a point of reference for everything that one does in the club and how you're progressing in your speaking and body language and everything else that you're trying to accomplish. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to the Toastmaster of the day. And the Toastmaster of the day is me. So here we go. I feel like I'm doing the Three Stooges kind of thing. Right now, we have a fantastic program that we put together last minute because we are flexible and we're able to move things at last minute because we know what we're doing. We're a professional club. But I can't do this by myself, and therefore I'm going to run down a number of people that are providing important support for this meeting today. The first person I'd like to explain what they're doing is Sarah. She is our timer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Andrew. As timer today, I will be timing speeches, table topics, and evaluations. For speeches, there are 5 to 7 minutes. It will be on the red at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, and green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, and red at 7 minutes, and you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. For table topics, be 1 to 2 minutes, 1 minute to be green, 1.5 minutes yellow, and 2 minutes red with 30 seconds to wrap it up. For speeches, for evaluations, there would be 3 minutes. So that would be 1 minute, 1 minute at green, 2 minutes at yellow. No. 2 minutes at green, 2.5 at yellow, and 3 minutes at red, and 30 seconds to wrap that up. And only the speeches that are mentioned today will be timed. And the timing will start at the first indication that the speaker is speaking, whether that be words or gestures. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Wonderful. We have other helpers as well. The next helper we have is Sunny Fridge to tell us about chat monitoring, what that's all about.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. I will be in charge of looking into the chat, making note of some of the interesting comments, noteworthy comments, and remind our members of any links that they may want to be aware of. When called upon, I'll give my report. Back to you.
Wonderful. And now I'd like to introduce you to the Wizard of Oz, Lou Brown. Tell us about what your role is.
Certainly, Mr. Toastmaster, as the Wizard of Oz, which you may have noticed I changed from a counter, because it is my duty to observe the clutch phrases, clutch words, ahs, ums, etc. I'm not going to count. I think it's kind of silly to actual count. What I will do is simply point out where folks is, if that's the right possessive form there, messages are otherwise not getting through because of fluff words and clutch words that just detract from what they are saying. And I'll report at the end of the meeting on what I observe. Back to you.
Thank you very much. We also have a watcher, Angela Heath, and she's our watcher today. Tell us what you do, Angela.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, as a watcher, I'm in charge of watching you, looking to see how you're centered and how you are lit up and your backgrounds and all of those gorgeous things that we do as an advanced club. And I will be giving my report when asked. Back to you.
Thank you. Mike, you are our grammarian. Please tell us what the grammarian does.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I appreciate your assigning me my role as a grammarian. The word today is appreciate. And I'm going to be looking for each of you to use this word. And as you use this word in your moments to speak, I'm going to jot it down. I want to keep a log as to who uses the word and how many times they use it. Not only am I going to monitor the word of the day, I'm going to be looking for great catchphrases or or unique languaging as we speak, something enriching, something that might pop and make people go, oh, wow, or whatever. But I'm going to be looking for those unique words, and I'll be giving a report at the end of the meeting. But before I go, I would like to share everyone my appreciation for Hector Cabrera joining our meeting. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. And I also wanted to add my appreciation and gratitude for Hector being able to come back to our meeting and join us again. Thank you very much, Hector. At this point, we've introduced all the people that will be helping us out, and we're going to move right to the primary speeches, to be followed by table topics, to be followed by their evaluations. So our two speakers tonight are Jim Barber, and I will introduce him. He's doing a practice speech for this year's international contest. His title is My Superpower. This is a 5 to 7 minute speech, and we look forward to hearing about it. Go ahead, Jim. My Superpower. Timer, 5 to 7.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Mr. Toastmaster, dignitaries, my fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guests this evening. Those were the words that opened my all-time favorite television show when I was a small boy, The Adventures of Superman. I dreamed how wonderful it would be to be a superhero, just like Superman. How great it would be to have superpowers. Sometimes my dad would join me while I was watching TV, and he would sit down beside me and he'd say, Jimmy, when you discover your superpower, imagine how great you'll be. And he was right. My dad was brilliant. He probably didn't realize it at the time, but he was telling me one of the greatest principles of life when he said, imagine how great you'll be. Because I do have a superpower. And so do you. The superpower is my imagination. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, oh, that's all he's talking about, just your imagination. Just your imagination? Do you dismiss other great power sources as just fire, just electricity, just atomic energy? No. Every great accomplishment and achievement started in someone's imagination. Now, you may dismiss this. You say, no, great things take work. It takes determination. It takes drive to achieve something great. Imagination doesn't do it. And you're right. It does take work, but it also takes imagination. And imagination is more important. It's more important than work. It's more important than determination. It's more important than drive. In fact, your imagination is more powerful than either electricity or atomic power. And I'm going to tell you why. Do you know what this is? That's right. It's a seed. And when you plant this little seed in the ground, and you fertilize it and you water it, you give it sunshine, something magical happens. In a short time, you might have a beautiful bouquet of flowers, or maybe you'll get a crop of nice, healthy vegetables. Or maybe if you wait a little longer, stand back, and that little seed will be transformed into a magnificent oak tree with its branches reaching to the sky. All of this from a little seed. But here's the thing. If you take that same plot of land and you water it and you fertilize it, but you don't first plant a seed, do you know what you get? That's right. mud. You get mud. Nothing happens if you don't plant the seed first. Water, fertilizer, sunshine, they're all important. But without that first magical seed, nothing happens. And it's the same way with life. Because you can work, you can toil, you can sweat over a project all you want. But if you don't start with the seed of imagination, nothing happens. This isn't just my opinion. Albert Einstein, you may have heard of him. Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world. My dad, he was another great genius, and he said the same thing, but in a slightly different way. And that's the thought I want to leave you with tonight. When you decide to use your superpower, when you commit to tapping the limitless possibilities of your imagination, my friends, that is when you will claim your birthright and fulfill your destiny. Yes, my fellow Toastmasters, it's true. Imagine how great you will be. Mr. Toastmaster.
Fantastic. We have a second prepared speech, sort of off the cuff, but prepared nevertheless, from David Carr. And he's going to be talking about the concept of the Chat GPT, the Autobot that does everything these days. I've seen articles showing it creating music called Music ML. I've seen it doing art with Dolly, and I've seen it doing essays with the GPT. So let's hear more about artificial intelligence, and we will be back to the future with David.
All right. Well, you've been following the news at all lately. You've heard some rumblings about this, probably, particularly if you've just been following business news or pop science news. There is this phenomenon called Chat GPT from a company called OpenAI. Now, OpenAI until recently was a research lab. I wouldn't say it was obscure, but you had to be a computer science wonk to have ever heard of anything to do with OpenAI until maybe this summer, when they came out first with an image generating bot, and then shortly after this chat bot, where you can ask it to do things for you. You can essentially ask it to do work for you, sort of quasi-intellectual work, or certainly gathering together information work, to the extent that there have been a lot of worries among some educators that every middle school student is going to be able to generate better essays that will really be written by Chat GPT, and will the teacher be able to sort that out? Well, it's not exactly plagiarism, because it's melding together many different sources to make something kind of sort of original. But if you haven't actually seen it, I'm going to show it to you quickly. So this is Chat GPT. When we started, we had Valentine's Day on the agenda as a theme, and we wondered if maybe we should have a different theme. So I asked it what would be a good theme for a Toastmasters meeting, and it came back with communication and leadership would be the classic, and here are a few other things that would be a natural theme that you might use. But you can feed in almost any sort of prompt. So here my next prompt is going to be write a short icebreaker introductory speech in the voice of Jimmy Carter. So I'm going to click enter, And there has been an issue where it's been overloaded a lot recently because of the popularity of this app. But here it is, we can see it writing. And I think this is sort of, they're kind of playing with us where they're watching us watch the computer type. I think it's already figured it all out by the time that those first few words appear on the screen. But very quickly, it comes up with an introductory speech from Jimmy Carter, introducing himself as the 39th President of the United States and giving some, actually, it has a reference to Toastmasters, maybe just because I said icebreaker, but also because the previous question was about Toastmasters. So it does remember some context. So I could say, can I get a folksier version? And let's see if it can make anything of that. Now, I have actually been studying this somewhat professionally because, so here, now we got the howdy folks version of Jimmy Carter introducing himself. So he's being more Southern at my suggestion. So I've been following this professionally for SimilarWeb, a company that ranks websites. And actually, a journalist came to me saying, is it true that this is now the 44th most popular website in the world? And according to our rankings, it is the 44th most popular website in the entire universe. So it's getting into the same league as Google and some of the other huge websites, mostly on the strength of this one app, which was only launched in November. And this is the chart of the growth of that app. And the headline was that this is now pulling in 25 million visits every day. An analyst from UBS Bank extrapolated from our numbers and said, well, my God, this thing now has 100 million users, as well as he could judge from the outside. And it's the fastest anything ever has gotten to that level on the web. So that may be a slight exaggeration. And it's been put out there pretty much as a free application. It was a free technology demo for people to come in and play with. So you can come in and play with it. You can see if you can get it to write your high schoolers' essays. If you don't like doing their homework for them, maybe ChatGPT can do that for you. I've had it write JavaScript code and code in other programming languages. It's a computer, so it's kind of attuned to how you might write software. Or there's a language called CSS that's used for formatting websites and making them look snazzy. And it was able to give me a snippet of that. Andy mentioned it writing songs. My boss had it write a song in the style of Taylor Swift, complaining about her problems with Ticketmaster. And this is actually part of a family of applications. This is Dolly, the image generating app that's just sort of a kissing cousin. These probably are going to be merged up at some point. This was value of public speaking in the style of a comic book. Here's value of public speaking in the style of an impressionist painting. And these things are really good at doing something in the style of, where they can analyze a lot of text and sort of synthesize it. So if I ask for an essay or a speech in the style of Mark Twain, I can get that back. Now, I'm a professional writer, so yes, it makes me a little bit nervous that I'm going to be obsolete soon. But at least in the near term, the more practical value, and for those of you who are writing speeches, it might be a good thing to try just to get unstuck. Because often if you can get the beginning of your speech or the beginning of your story, you can figure it out from there. People often get stuck on beginnings and endings. See what it spits out? Look at it critically and analyze how you might be able to leverage that. So don't be too worried about the computer being smarter than you, because computers are pretty dumb about a lot of things, but maybe it can make you smarter, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, David. And I agree with you. It's a fascinating phenomenon that we're going through. And a recent 60-minute report said that they took the chat GPT, exposed it to the final examination at Wharton Business School, and it passed. It passed a medical licensing exam, and it passed a bar exam for young lawyers. So it did all three of those areas, and that's sort of scary. But if you're in education, realize that there's an application out there that up to now was being used by teachers to determine plagiarism on essays, and that's called Turnitin. And they had a whole segment tonight talking about how they're working feverishly to be able to apply, just like they do with the essays, material generated by the chat GPT, and determine whether or not it was done by automation or not. So there you have it. Our two speakers tonight. And at this point, I'm going to turn over the speaking duties, the platform, to our table topics master. Isabel, tell us what table topics are. And timer, tell us how much time you have for table topics.
Yes. Fellow Toastmasters, table topics is designed to train us to quickly organize and express our thoughts in an impromptu setting. As a topics master, I will conduct this impromptu speech segment. The table topic speech should be about 1 to 2 minutes long. Madam Timekeeper, please give us a green signal and 1 minute, a yellow signal and 1 and 30 minutes, and a red signal and 2 minutes. If a speaker sees the red signal, please wrap up in 30 seconds. Valentine's Day is next week, so I will invite all of us to think on our feet and speak on the cuff with the topics of Valentine's Day and love. First question. What's the most appreciated Valentine's Day gift you ever give? Sunny, would you like to take this question? What's the most appreciated Valentine's Day gift you ever give? If you don't want, pass this to somebody else.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, that's an interesting question about what's the, sounds to me like the best gift for Valentine's Day that I've ever given. I don't know what the best gift I've ever given, but the best gift you can give is the gift of love. Love overcomes so many things. It overcomes darkness. It can overcome evil. The gift of love. It doesn't always cost a lot to show your love, your appreciation for someone, for something. I love you, for instance, Miss Isabel. We've been partners since 2020, and you're a wonderful partner. I love Toastmasters for the joy that it gives me to be able to use my gifts to help others and to change the world, one voice and one student at a time. So the gift of love is something that I really love, and you don't have to wait for Valentine's Day to give it, to share it, and to spread it. Back to you.
Thank you, Sunny. This is a very beautiful pivot of the original topic, where I try to insert the words appreciate since it's the word of the day. All right, so next question. What's the most memorable Valentine's Day you ever had? What's the most memorable Valentine's Day you ever have? May I ask Toastmaster Hector Barber? Welcome.
Isabel, thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with my fellow Toastmasters what has been one of the most memorable Valentine's Days that I have had. And let me just tell you, to start with, I'm not much of a Valentine's guy. I must confess, I was kind of like a Grinch for Valentine's. Not that I didn't believe in the power of love. I am a romantic. My wife said I am too corny every single day, and I don't need to wait for Valentine's Day to express that. But on Valentine's Day, either I was traveling on business or I was away for whatever reason, and I never gave it the proper weight until I became a dad. And I had the opportunity to have as my Valentine my first daughter. And then it became very, very important. And I had this expectation and emotion from my daughter when I came home with a bouquet of flowers, which she was completely sure they were not for her mom. No. They were for her. And starting that Valentine's and every Valentine, and of course, every birthday, she waits, she expects with emotion for me to bring her a Valentine gift. And that changed my concept of Valentine, became the most appreciated and relevant Valentine days for me. Thank you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's certainly a very memorable story. Next question requires a bit thinking. It says in a romantic relationship, the conventional wisdom dictates that opposites attract. Do you agree with it? Tell us more about your thoughts. I would like to call Toastmaster Tricia Smith. In romantic relationship, conventional wisdom dictates the opposites attract. Do you agree with it? What's your thoughts?
Whether opposites attract, can you guys hear me? I'd have to say, yes, that's a known statement. Whether I agree with it or not is questionable, because I know people who definitely are opposite spectrum, relatives, totally opposite. How did you even get together? And other people that have a lot in common. It seems very practical, and more stories that I've heard in my own experiences where you're really meeting people based on interests that you have in common rather than opposites attract. Mm-hmm. However, I do know people who have longevity and relationships that have both of those stories. So I think it's an individual thing, and how all relationships, you have to work at them to make them work, whether it's husband, wife, or whatever the role is, mother, daughter, work relationship, you still have to work at it. And there can be different personalities in every role. Some people meet through work. Some people meet in a social gathering. Some people meet at a community event, or it's very common nowadays to hear of people meeting online where you really might not know the truth about somebody in that situation. So the old-fashioned meeting people in person, is it more effective? Are you really hearing their whole story? Are they making up stories to just appeal to you? I don't know. There's a lot of variables there. So whether or not opposites attract, you'd have to, maybe a generational thing even. If you asked my parents' generation, they probably know a lot of people where, yes, in fact, I know people in that generation. That's true. Totally opposite. And they complement each other and it works. Other people have too much in common, and maybe it becomes more of a competition, a challenge, and it's a roadblock. So I've seen that situation as well. So in terms of a specific answer to that question, it's kind of hard to answer, because I'll bet if we even took a vote, we'd probably have a divided vote even within our group here. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Tricia. That was a complicated question and you give a comprehensive answer. Very impressive. Next question is a bit personal. What do you plan to do with your most significant other on this year's Valentine's Day? May I ask Toastmaster Kevin Dorsey, what do you plan to do with your most significant other on this year's Valentine's Day?
Thank you very much, Isabel. I just love that question because it's making me think about something that I pondered earlier today. What are you going to do? We've been married since, don't tell me about it, but we've been married since 1985. That's 37 years. That's a long time, isn't it? What do you do after that? It's easy for me because I'll just be myself. You know, I'll be myself and we probably won't go anywhere. What we'll do is we'll spend time at home and I'll probably say something like, what would you like to eat tonight? Because I'm going to cook. I'll do something like that. I'll cook a meal. My wife loves flowers. I have to come up with the roses. I have to do that because she loves flowers and she loves cards. She keeps cards forever. And of course, I got to do the chocolate. So the traditional moves, I have to take those into consideration. Chocolates, the cards, and the flowers because she loves them. The unique aspect will be my role as a chef. And I'll cook the meal, I'll prepare the meal that she wants, which means I'll be on YouTube quite a bit, trying to make sure I get it done right. I'll do that meal and I'll make sure that she's seated because I'm going to serve her as if she's in a 10-star restaurant. You notice I didn't say 5, I said 10 because this is my restaurant. And we'll do that. I will dine with my wife and prepare the meal. Back to you, Isabel.
Wow, excellent. That's a well thought plan. It's practical and all the romance. Next question is a bit complicated. Study shows that people who are similar in certain personality traits tends to have long-term stable relationships. These traits are empathy, trust, consideration for others, and emotional stability. In other words, if one is emotional and inconsiderate and the other is calm and caring, and these two people are impossible for a good marriage. What do you think of this finding? May I invite our guest here, Winnie Wabi? Are you here?
Actually, he asked if he could wait until the next time he's a guest to do table topics.
Okay.
If you don't mind passing on to the next person, that'd be great.
Okay. May I invite Angela Heth? Would you like to answer this question? It's about
traits again. That was complicated. What are the traits again?
Yeah. So study shows that couples who are similar in certain personality traits tends to have long-term stable relationships. These traits are empathy, trust, consideration for others, and emotional stability. What do you think of that?
In order to have a wonderful relationship, I do believe you and your mate should be very similar when it comes to traits like trust, empathy, and consideration. After all, those are the things I offer. And I was actually married to someone who was not like me. That caused a lot of volcanoes in the relationship. Mm-hmm. I felt on one hand, oh my gosh, I'm not loved. He felt on the other hand, oh, she needs too much. So I believe that it's really important when you choose a mate that you look at these traits. So I would totally agree with that study. You've got to have someone who looks at consideration the same way you do. That way, both sides will feel appreciated and nobody's going to feel like they're put out too often. You want to make sure that you have the same kind of emotional stability. Could you imagine being around someone who flies off the handle all the time and you're calm and cool? I don't think that would work too well. And we've got to have someone like us in terms of empathy. With those traits in common, I do believe relationships will last, or at least they'll have a better chance of lasting and a better chance at both people being happy. Back to you.
Thank you. I really love you share your experience, and your story really substantiated this theory. Madam Timer, do we have time for more table topics?
Yes.
How many more? 2 more?
Two.
Okay, awesome. Next question. In South Korea and Japan, women give candy to men on Valentine's Day. What type of candy would you like to give or receive? May I have a volunteer for this question? Would you please raise your hand if you'd like to take this question?
I'll take it.
Okay, welcome.
That's an easy answer, Madam Topics Master. Chocolate, 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 chocolate. However, I raised my hand primarily because I moved to answer one of your other questions, which was the most memorable Valentine's Day. And the reason being that although Valentine's Day is all about love and the power of love, and love can be a very powerful thing, hate can also be a very powerful thing, and sometimes perhaps even more so. For some reason, I have this experience that is embedded in my mind and has not gone away all these years. It dates back to when I was in school, back in 2nd or 3rd grade, I believe. And when I was a child in my hometown and my school, every year we give out, all of us kids would give Valentine's Day cards to all the other kids. It was just a tradition. And of course, they weren't the I love you style, though. Now that I think about it, I'm sure some of them were, but it was more like, will you be my Valentine? I'd be little cartoon characters, things like that. One particular year, when all the kids were giving out the cards, I remember one particular student who was the victim of ongoing bullying. She did not receive any cards. And I remember clearly her sitting there, looking around, waiting for kids to give her a card. When the teacher said, go pass out your cards, everyone would just turn around and give out the cards. And she's sitting there and waiting for somebody to give her a card. Not one student gave her a card. And I'm ashamed to say, myself included. I don't know if it was a peer pressure thing or a fear of not conforming thing or what have you. I had all of my cards ready and I felt almost pressured not to give her one because the other students didn't give her one. So maybe some of this is a little bit of a guilt trip, if you will, but she started crying and it just broke my heart. Now, the today me would have certainly given her a card, no question about it. Back then, of course, the little 8-year-old me was so afraid to stand out that I didn't do it. But it's just, again, that question reminded me of the power of that, which really comes from hate, not my own hate, because I didn't hate her or anyone else, like that. But it just really reminded me of the fact that not every Valentine's Day is a wonderful experience to remember. And that one just stands out for me. And I know I went way over time, but I just, again, that question really hit me when you mentioned it because it just brought up that experience. And I wanted to share that with everyone. Back to you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's a good real life lesson. Do we have pet lover here? Anybody is a pet lover? Would you please raise hand? I would like to pass the last question to you. Hey, Kim, thank you. I saw Kim raise the hands first, so I will give her this question. It said 9 million people purchase Valentine's Day presents for their pets. What type of gift would you give to your pet? Kim?
Thank you. Thank you for that question, Isabel. I actually took on the job as general evaluator so as not to be asked a table topics question. So I'm very surprised that my hand went up, but I am very much a pet lover. So we have always had dogs, but right now we just have one pet, and that is a parrot. His name is Frisbee, and he is going to be 32 in May. So for his present, I think I should be getting him, I don't know, a little birdie walker or maybe birdie hearing aids because he's so old, but he's just a wonderful part of our life. And Frisbee he deserves all the presents in the world. He can probably hear me and he's probably saying, hello, hello in the other room. And often when I'm on Toastmasters, if he's in the same room, he actually does speak to you guys. You just don't know it because I'm muted. So I would say that everybody should be including their pets as far as gifts to give them. And we are actually going to be starting a website that's going to be focusing on just that, where you can get special gifts for your pets. So we're hoping that your percentages of what you mentioned of people getting their pets gifts is accurate. And thank you so much, Isabel. Back to you.
Thank you. That's a lovely story. And 32 years old parrot, that's totally amazing. This concludes the table topic segment. And please remember to vote for your favorite table topic speaker. We have 7 members. I will put their names on the chat. And now I return the control of the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Andrew Byrne.
Thank you for the wonderful job that you did, Isabel. Fantastic. At this point, our meeting control goes over to the general evaluator. The general evaluator brings up evaluators for each of our prepared speeches, as well as reports from all of you guys that are helping out and have their names on the board as helpers. So, Kim, please lead it off during this segment.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Andy Byrne, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. As Andy mentioned, my name is Kim Leeming, and I'm honored to be your general evaluator for tonight. What an awesome evening we're having. We are now entering the educational part of the meeting. A big reason for why online presenters is so successful in transforming speakers into even more confident and competent speakers is the wonderful and actionable feedback each speaker receives from their evaluators. With this feedback, the speakers and everyone else watching can use this input to improve their speaking capabilities and in turn bring more value to their audiences. My role is divided into 3 parts. 1 is to introduce the evaluators for the prepared speeches. 2 is to reintroduce tonight's assistants and ask for their respective reports. And finally, 3, I will give my general evaluation of the overall meeting. Before we start the evaluations, could I please ask the timer for today, Sarah, to remind us of the timing requirements for the evaluator speeches? Take it away, Sarah.
Thank you, General Evaluator Kim. Timing will be 2 minutes for the evaluations, 2 minutes at green, 2.5 minutes at yellow, and 3 minutes at red, and 30 seconds to wrap it up. Back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. The first evaluator for tonight is Andre Smolenko. He will be evaluating speaker number 1, Jim Barber. Please welcome Andre.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator, online presenters, and most importantly, Jim. My superpower. What a powerful speech. Jim, I knew you've taken this role in the last seconds, and this role of your speech is about your speech for the international speech contest. And what I can say, I could imagine all the way through, from the beginning of your speech, when your dad was talking to you and waking up the power of imagination. You're a great storyteller, Jim. And I really enjoy those moments that I could almost feel you spending time with your dad. And then the moments when you gave us demonstration about the importance of imagination in our lives, sometimes even more important than hard work, by introducing a little seed. That's our imagination. Only from that little seed, the power, all the things could grow. You even introduced authority into your speech, Robert Einstein, so you made it even more believable. You made it even more relatable to our lives. Where Einstein mentioned about the greatest power of imagination around the world. And you wrapped up your speech with powerful conclusion, letting us believe in ourselves, because we all have at least a little seed of imagination that can grow and can create great things. There are a few things I would like to mention that perhaps you could take into account for polishing your speech for the International Speech Contest. As a great storyteller, I would like to hear more about how imagination changed your life, how the power of imagination changed things perhaps for the people you love, your work, perhaps study, or even Toastmasters. Then again, I would like to hear a little bit more of authority, perhaps a man on the move, on the moon. A man on the move. Moon was at the beginning the power of someone's imagination. And then perhaps in conclusion, just take an example from your childhood, take an examples from your work, and a few great people, man on the moon, you could make even a more impactful conclusion, those vivid images. Overall, I really wish you all the best of luck, and I believe in you, Jim, at International Speech Contest, when I'm sure your speech will make an impact with imagination. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Andre. Our second evaluator today is Joni Laidlaw. She will be evaluating speaker number 2, and that is David Carr. Please welcome Joni.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Toastmaster Dave, I say to my son all the time, take everything you learn in school with a grain of salt. I understand what the school actually was created for, and as such, digitalizing a paper world seems to be very difficult. And we're trying to prepare them for a world that we know nothing of. The changes that have occurred in just my lifetime, to think of what will happen in just a few days, weeks, months, let alone years. I loved your practical demonstration. My favorite phrase is, show you. Let me show you. It's easier than to tell you. Most people take a snippet and a slide or just verbally describe it. You actually showed me the process, and I appreciate that. It means that if I ever go on ChatGPT and it's not doing that, then I know I went wrong. But I might not think I broke it because I did see the little waits in the time it took to do it. I'm very appreciative of whenever there is a practical demonstration. I liked your use of words, quasi-intellectual work. Don't like doing their homework for them. And I agree, that is exactly what it feels like, them sending home homework for me and not for them. What would I suggest that you could do to improve? Your opening. You had a huge opportunity for a big opening. Welcome to the future. Or, have you heard of the 44th most popular website in the universe? Grab our attention. After all, it's it's a brand new topic. It's something that's unusual, that's fascinating, and that's different. You could also think of utilizing your background to get us involved in the process as well. Overall, though, I really did enjoy the content. I've been on ChatGPT, I tried it, but for me, it was coming off a bit wonky. Seeing how you worked to be more specific in regard to what was said, as well as drawing the parallel with Dolly, meaning connection in the style of, assisted in also making it more user-friendly and connected more with me. Again, kudos and appreciation in providing it in a way that offered a practical view on how to use it while providing you with some additional information on it. I doubt you will ever become obsolete because after all, they need somewhere to learn from and to make a reference. So keep writing and hopefully you'll be a tagline or a how-to in the style of David Carr in the future. Back to you, our general evaluator.
Thank you, Joni. And thank you, Andre. It is amazing that you both stepped up at the last minute. I couldn't do a speech if I prepared as well as either of your evaluations. So great job. And the same goes to our two speakers. Again, stepped up at the last minute. This didn't seem impromptu at all. Just kudos to all four of you. Now, could I please call on our timer, Sarah Idahan, to give us the evaluator's timers report for tonight's evaluations. Take it away, Sarah.
Thank you. Donnie's time was 3 minutes and 26 seconds, and Andre's time was 3 minutes, 10 seconds. Both evaluators qualified.
Thank you, Sarah. As you heard, both of tonight's evaluators qualified with the timing for their evaluations. So thanks in advance to everyone for casting your votes now for Best Evaluator for tonight's meeting to Tricia Smith. And if you haven't yet done so, please also cast your vote for Best Speaker and Best Table Topic. Next, we'll be reintroducing tonight's team of Toastmasters who helped run tonight's meeting so smoothly. They will each give their 1-minute speeches and reports. First up is our Ah counter, the Wizard of Oz, Lou Brown. Please welcome Lou.
Thank you, Madam GE. We are an exceptionally advanced club. It's actually very difficult to catch anything of this nature. I'm in a few other clubs that are tier 1 clubs, and you know, those ahs and ums and ers and doubles, clutches, all that just stand out. We did a very good job. I'll just point out a couple of things. Mike and Dave had a couple of double starts and ahs and ums more than I would say than average. And I believe it's because, Mike, you were kind of caught on the spot with taking over that role. So maybe it was just like, oh. And David, probably the same thing. You were kind of just delivering a prepared speech. So probably just kind of caught you off guard. Isabel, is English as your second language is, I'm sure, a struggle, but you did an amazing job. You're very well paced with your delivery of words. So very few clutch words. I did hear some ands and ums, but I have to say most folks where English is a second language really struggle with that. So kudos to you. Excellent job. Everyone else, I didn't hear anything that was really overly distracting or anything like that. Back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you, Lou. Next up is our grammarian, Mike Woodall. I am so sorry about that. With his report. Wow. All I have to say is please welcome Mike. Take it away.
That's me, live and in person, unmuted. Thank you, Kim, our general evaluator. What a rewarding time tonight being the grammarian. David, Carr, I started writing down some of the things, but before I could finish writing, there was something else in there. And finally, I just gave it up because your presentation was just full of enriching words and you really, I could watch the senses and the attributes of all the people on screen perk up and listen and move and shift in their body language. So excellent job on that. As far as the word of the day goes, very few people, I hate to say it, but I'm going to anyway, use the simple word appreciate. this evening. I know Andrew did. And I know Hector did 3 times in his table topics session. So the unique phrases that I heard was from Sunny. One was from Sunny. It was, you don't have to wait for Valentine's Day to give it or to share it. That just touched me, and I thought it touched the rest of us. Another one was from Kim. Everyone should include their pets when considering gifts. That took me from where I was at and put me in a nice, pleasant space, which as speakers, that's pretty much what we're supposed to do. Is to do just that. So I want to thank you, Madam General Evaluator, for allowing me to be your grammarian this evening.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate your report and your kind words.
It's too late.
I know it is. Sorry about that. Tonight's watcher is Angela Heath with her report about watching you. So please take it away, Angela.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I have been watching you, and I have a couple things that I'd like to report. First of all, I'm giving a prize to the Wizard of Oz because he started off with one background, but he was so dedicated to the theme that he quickly found some Valentine candies to put up. So good job. Look, I want to give another shout out to Joni for her gorgeous background and Kim for her gorgeous background. I want to give a shout out to Kim again. Your glasses, you are the only one on here that has absolutely no glare on your glasses. We all want a pair of those glasses, and we want you to teach us how to do that. I want to give a shout out to Sarah. Look at Sarah. Her outfit matches the Toastmasters background. Pretty slick, Sarah. And many of you who are using the background where you fade into the background, you have really great lighting. So I give you all a shout. Sonny, you get the prize for the biggest, most beautiful smile. Now, I have one thing that I'd love for us to correct. Calvin, I know you're relaxing. You are pushed so far back that when I have you on gallery view, your head is behind your name. So I know you're relaxing today, but next week, come up a little closer so we can see that big, beautiful smile of yours. But everybody was looking pretty good. And that is my report, and I am sticking to it. Back to you.
Thank you, Angela. And very funny that you mentioned my glasses. This is my first time wearing them. They are brand new. So thank you for noticing, and they are specially for computers. Maybe that's why. Next up is our chat monitor, Sunny Fridge. Please take it away, Sunny.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. As I looked at the chat tonight, one of the big topics was Chat GPT. The speech by David today got several responses, and it included at 7:47 Eastern time, it included, before that, you need to renew. So that's one thing, you need to renew your dues. And so you can go back and click on that link. But at 8:03, there was a comment by Isabel, how she used artificial intelligence art-wise. And I thought that was very interesting, how she asked someone to draw pictures of a fox red Labrador and muscular body, and that's what she got. Going back just a tad, this was something different. You can now, depending on your version of Zoom, do screenshots. And once you do a screenshot, even if I just took a little bit of this picture here, you can easily just, oh man, that went too fast and my time is going to be up. But if I did that right, I would have been able to just do a little screenshot and then put it right. It just won't go today, but it would go right into the chat. I'll probably do it in a minute. And I think that's helpful depending on what the image is for our meetings. I will stop there and just remind you at 8:08, Angela put in a link to something about ChatGPT as a business builder. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more, she has a link for a webinar. And that's my report today, everyone. If you do want to save the chat, depending on your version, there are those 3 dots. And once you click on the 3 dots, you can save the chat, and it usually saves in your document folders. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Sunny. It is now time for the general evaluation portion of the meeting. What a fun time. 2 great speakers, 2 awesome evaluators, and a very fun table topic session. Thanks so much for those who stepped up at the last minute. That's definitely the mark of an advanced Toastmaster club. I'd now like to talk about our guest. Before I joined Online Presenters, I remember how welcomed I felt each time I visited Online Presenters as a guest. Tonight was no exception. This club values its guests. I saw people saying hi in the chat, and I just love the way Online Presenters treats our guests and the way they greet them. I also appreciate our guest for coming. So great job. And the Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Andy Byrne, has been doing this a long time, and it really shows, not only in how he led the meeting, but also for stepping into this role at the last minute. Although I don't follow sports, I feel like Andy was the quarterback of tonight's OP meeting. He called the plays by telling us what was going to happen, and it made for a winning meeting. Great job, Andy. Table Topics Master of the Day was Isabel Kaduri. Typically, my response to hearing the table topics portion of the meeting is to say to myself, don't pick me, don't pick me. But as you know, I went ahead and volunteered. With Isabel's questions tonight, she just did a great job. It was questions we all wanted to answer, and we all had answers for. So I want to thank you for that, Isabel. Isabel, great job. As far as suggestions go, I feel like it makes sense to talk about signups. Yesterday, when I looked at the sign-up sheet for tonight's meeting, I noticed that the only person who had signed up for a role at that point was Lou Brown. Thanks for that, Lou. Everyone else, including me, did not sign up until within 24 hours of this meeting. This makes it very hard to prepare for the meeting, and this is especially true for the Toastmaster of the Day. I would again like to commend Andy for stepping in at the last minute and for conducting such a wonderful meeting. I'd also like to challenge everyone at this meeting to pick a role for next week's meeting and sign up for it after the meeting ends tonight. I've already accepted this challenge, and I signed up for Toastmaster of the Day for the next meeting. I'd also like to encourage everyone, with the exception of Tricia Smith, who's given a phenomenal number of speeches, to try to commit to giving more prepared speeches. If we each sign up for at least 1 speech per month, we will always have a full schedule and more members will complete their pathways. I know that I've been a big offender in the past for this one. I have to admit, I've only given 2 prepared speeches here at Online Presenters. One of those was to join. So as such, I'm going to try to give at least 1 speech per month from this time forward. And as you know, tonight's speakers have already been evaluated, but I'd still like to just say that the quality of the speeches, whether or not they prepared for them, was nothing short of phenomenal. So thanks to all for a job very well done. Both the speakers and the evaluators demonstrated strong body language, eye contact, and vocal variety, as well as all the table topic speakers. And now we are on to another exciting part of the evening. Our vote counter, Tricia Smith, is going to reveal the voting results for Best Speaker, Best Evaluator, and Best Table Topics for tonight. Please welcome Tricia.
The drum roll. Best Speaker, Jim Barber, congratulations. Best Evaluator, Andrei Smolenko, congratulations. And Best Table Topic Speaker, Sunny Fridge, congratulations, winners. You are appreciated. Great speaking.
Thank you, Tricia. Congratulations to all our winners. Big round of applause. And thanks again to everyone for a very fun and successful meeting. With that, I'd like to pass the stage back to our Toastmaster of the day, Andy Byrne, who will then pass the stage back to himself as president, Andy Byrne. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trish did a fantastic job. I would like to have the opportunity. We had 3 guests. I wanted to introduce each of them so that the other members of the club get to know them a little bit. The first one is Winnie Woob. Are you still with us?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us your feelings and experience, your impression of the club meeting?
Okay, all right. Hello guys.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, how are you? This is me, Winnie. I just came to know you guys by random search in the web as I want to improve my speaking skills. I am moved very recently to United States, which is 9 months ago. So as I am looking to improve my speaking skills, I just joined your team and it's very exciting. One time I joined one group, for one time, and this one is very different, very experienced and more of professional, and I'm really excited about your time managing, your professional way of speaking, everything. So thank you so much, guys.
Winnie, it's our pleasure to have you here. Where are you from?
From Eritrea, which is East Africa.
Wonderful. And as you notice, if you looked at our summary of all the people in the club, we have people all over the globe. And we are looking forward to seeing you at more meetings. Next person I wanted to introduce was Tracy. I believe you're new to the club today, correct?
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, yeah, I'm new to the club. I'm visiting. I'm a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, and I'm actually going to be teaching adults online. So this is a little bit different. So I wanted to get some help and some feedback on how to teach online to adults.
You're in the right spot for exactly that. You're in the right spot.
And where are you from, Tracy?
Florida.
Okay. Where?
The panhandle of Florida.
There's a few Florida people on the screen here, so that's why they were asking.
Oh, I'm on Eglin Air Force Base.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, most of us are Southeast Florida. Andy was in Southeast, and now he's on the other side of the state over in Tampa area. So do you have past experience with Toastmasters or?
My husband told me about it. He did it years ago.
Okay. Right. Well, this club was, I was one of the people who set it up. It was set up specifically. It was before all this pandemic stuff came along. We were just trying to explore how to make better use of the medium. And so definitely teaching, training is something that a number of our members do, as well as trying to adapt, because the whole world of public speaking has changed quite a bit from being predominantly in-person meetings to being a different mix than we had before everything went screwy in 2020. But also it's we're embracing the march of technology here. So yeah, I hope you find it worthwhile. Hope you come back.
And Hector, I know that you've been a member of the club before, disappeared for your work and then came back. Tell us why you came back.
Well, first of all, because I needed it so much, I missed it so much, and I'm just looking forward to getting back. It's been quite a ride these last few months, but I'm going to renew my membership. I cannot join every meeting because I'm still traveling, but I'll do my best to at least join once a month our meetings. Thank you.
Well, that's wonderful, Hector. And Tracy, one of the things that I did want to point out is that at the beginning, we tape the meeting. This is for the benefit of all our members that can't be there each and every time, or if you were there and you couldn't remember everything because it went so fast, you have it right there for you. So we covered several our guests. Are there any guests here that I missed? Okay. What I can tell you is that there are lots of stuff going on. Even Toastmasters is getting involved in AI. If you go to the main splash page for Toastmasters, you'll see a thing for Udemy or Udemy. And what that is it's an AI program to let you give your speech to a computer. It records it, it types it out, and then it gives you suggestions on what things you can do to improve it. From a communication standpoint, it's the same thing that Grammarly does when you're doing typing, and then apply Grammarly to your typing work. It allows you to look at all that stuff and say, hey, this is needs to be changed here or there.
I don't think we're going to put human evaluators out of a job either. I think we still need that touch.
But it gives you a first hand view of what might be looked at as something that you can improve. Just like Grammarly helps you on the fly with changes in your wording, that changes in your tense, Udemy may help you in that regard as well. Anybody have anything else that you want to share with our guests of why they should continue to come? Angela, who by the use of our club became an international winner in Toastmasters, and tell everybody what it meant to be a member of this club and what it helped her do.
Yeah, I mean, I love this club. This is a really great club. I love the fact that people are from all over the world. And having visited a lot of clubs in different countries after the competition, I really come to understand that this is one of the best clubs, virtual clubs at least, in the world. The way we time everything, even though it may look kind of chaotic before that recorder comes on, but once it comes on, it's like clockwork, it's like a production, and you don't find that everywhere around the world. So I had to take a break to get some work done, and I'm back 2 times a month, and I'm just really happy to be back. Some of you guys I got a chance to talk to since the last time I've been here, but it's the people make the club, and the organization adds to the beauty of it.
Okay, so we appreciate that. We have 143 days left. How do you make use of that? 143 days left. Who are you going to bring there along with yourself? How are you going to target your goals? And where are you going to go? I leave it at that for you to think about that. We'll end the meeting now at
before you end the meeting.
Yes.
You know, it was remiss of me to miss one very important thing in my grammarian role this evening. There was one statement made this evening that really stuck to my heart, and I put it on another note to my right because it was so important. I wanted to just make sure about it, and I did not do it. And it was something that Lewis Brown had said. And I believe that it's just a good message for all of our hearts and our souls. And what he said was, after in his table topics, as he told the story about his school day and the girl that didn't get the things that she should have got, and how his heart was felt. And we could tell that he still felt bad about that moment many years ago. But this is what he said. He said, the today me wouldn't have taken part in that. And I just thought that was just absolutely wonderful. And thank you, Lewis Brown, for lifting us with that.
All right. Let me just mention, I guess we're not going to shake people down and make you at gunpoint take a roll for next meeting. However, I did post.
I'll hold you all to gunpoint.
Okay. I did post a link in the chat. I'd ask you to click on, and you don't even need to enter your password. Just grab a roll for next meeting. I did belatedly. So we definitely could stand to do better with doing things farther ahead, but such is life.
For those that wonder what the
9:03 for whoever's recording, who has the button, we may want to
okay, good point.
end on